That said, I have some notes.
Thank you. That said, I have some notes. I love it. And so you just flew in, Jonathan, today, so thank you all for being here. It means so much. Congrats on a phenomenal season 2 so far, and also the renewal of season 3, which you guys are back. Cannot wait for that. Everybody just watched episode 203, and it ends with Jack Bailey in a booth at a restaurant. And I feel like you don't bring back Jack Bailey without something big happening between him and Coop. So what can you tease for the next episode?
I think we wanted to take that relationship to a different place. I think we've already seen them as headbutting antagonists, and so I don't think they're ever going to be best friends, but in season 2 they go on a very different journey together.
Anything you want to add to that, John?
Lovers.
I mean, listen, I've been waiting for...
I've loved Corbin Burnson since Major League. I think we all have. LA Law, let's come on, give it up for the great Corbin. No, we were very pleased to explore that relationship even further.
As lovers.
As lovers.
Yeah, that's good. I've been so shocked this season already, and I'm curious what reveal shocked you all the most between Barney coming on board with Coop, and then you have Ash capturing Coop on camera, which finally the cameras, I was so, like, I love Coop, I want him to succeed, but also I was like, finally, someone got him on this thing. And then you have the fact that now he's the one that he bought the book. So which reveal shocked you guys as you were reading the early scripts this season? Or has it not happened yet?
I was really shocked that menopause was going to be in a TV show, a big TV show. So that was really shocking to me and a delight because I'm no stranger to it. Same, being 54, so I was actually, sorry, is this not what you wanted? I wanted like the actual like murder plot and stuff like that, and
Not that there's a murder plot.
No, the money and stuff that, but yeah, I was kind of excited that menopause was going to be like front and center.
I know, I'm so glad. This conversation in like different acts, so we're going to get to the whole menopause of it all, because
great.
I am so glad that you wrote about this for this season.
Okay.
But of these initial reveals, like I was shocked that Coop was finally caught on camera by Ash and that whole relationship, and then Barney coming on board. Like, John, what did you think when you read this?
Well, part of the fun of this story, I think, is how is it going to begin to unravel?
Yeah.
Obviously. We saw bits and pieces of that with the relationship between Coop and Sam and how that started to unravel, and all of these things are very tricky to keep spinning, and eventually they will these people in such a small community that these secrets are not safe for long. So that's a big fun part of it, and obviously once more and more and more and more people start knowing about what is in essence illegal activity, the sort of Damocles, so to speak, is ever increasingly about to fall. So that's what the fun of it is, and hopefully people will enjoy that. Yes, obviously Barney knowing and being inadvertently dragged into Coop's situation is tricky and becomes even trickier as the season unfolds. So stay tuned.
Let's talk about Owen and Ash. What?
Tiniest woo.
Okay. Let's talk about James Marsden as Owen Ash. Did you write the character with James in mind?
We did. We didn't have him, but we used him as kind of like a North Star. Once we started talking about how the character behaves and what his whole gestalt was, we very quickly put a picture of him on the wall. we didn't think we'd get him, but we get someone like that. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, there's something very specific to his energy that we were
You
trying.
have a picture of James on your wall, and why aren't you?
Why are you bringing that up
Just
here
asking.
in front of all these people?
Why?
Really?
The weird, we all have pictures of James on our walls. What I'm trying to say.
As one does.
Obviously, yeah. So how hard was it then? Did you tell him you had a picture up on the wall to get him
No,
to?
you don't need to encourage that. Like, you know, it was a group effort. You know, I went after him. Olivia, who knew him from before, got in touch with him.
High school.
John got in touch with him. We all just sort of, we circled the wagons.
So what does that mean when Tropper's saying you got in touch with him? Like, what do you send to him a text message saying, can you please join our show? Like, how does this work then?
Tropper texted me and said, do you know James Marston? I said, yes, I do. I know James because I grew up in Tokyo and then at the age of 16 moved to Oklahoma. And
It's the classic Tokyo. Oklahoma, they call it.
to Oklahoma. And I had a really hard time making friends because, you know, being 16 in new school. But there's one girl who asked me to be her friend. Her name is Jenny Marston. And James's little sister. And at that time, James had already had his little break into Hollywood. He had this CBS show, and she was like, my brother's coming back, and he's gonna take us, you know, and some friends to dinner, and he took us to Bennigan's. I don't know if anybody here knows Bennigan's. And then out for ice cream afterwards. It was super wholesome. And it wasn't. I was like, it meant so much to me because I always wanted to be an actor, but it felt like such a lofty dream. But then meeting somebody and being 1 degree away from somebody, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm just gonna keep going. And then it wasn't like 13 or 15 years later where I was at a GQ Men of the Year party and I see him across the way, and I'm like, I go right up to him, I'm like, you're not gonna remember me. And we talked about it, and then we were friends ever since. We were looking for something to work on. So when Tropper texted me, I was like, let me give it a try. Because I know the other thing is James Marston is so busy. He's on everybody's show.
Yeah.
And so I gave him a long text, and I was like, from what I understand, you know, a lot of your scenes are going to be with me and Hamm, and you know, if that's at all alluring. And then I ended it with like, no pressure, but you know, pressure.
Yeah.
And I think Hamm reached out too. They're in
John, you're in like a fantasy football.
I'm in a fantasy football league
He's
with
everywhere.
James, and everyone else in it is like a superhero, and I'm not. So it's like, boy, these guys. But no, I back-channeled James through that connection, and said a version of the same thing. Like, look, this is going to be super fun. Shoot in New York City. I know you're super busy, but we'll make it work, and we'll make it worth your while. And I've known James almost as long as Olivia has, and similar things. We've always wanted to work together. He's such a lovely guy, and yeah, we knew he would be value added to the story, and he has been.
And
As
then
you will
Amanda.
see.
Oh yeah, and then
And Amanda doesn't.
I didn't do anything.
You just told him you had a photo of him
I
on your
guess.
wall.
Right. That's no value added whatsoever.
Yeah, she literally didn't know he was on the show until tonight.
Oh my god, I love it.
It's like Cyclops. I was like, who is Cyclops?
This one's like being on set.
All day.
I'm coming for season 3. I can't wait. Rewinding to the season 1 finale really quick. Obviously, there was the big shock with Coop not taking the offer with Bailey and Russell. Was there ever a path forward where you thought, maybe let's write towards him taking it and seeing where that goes, or did you always know?
No, that was always the end of the season. And I also, you know, when you do a first season, you don't know if you'll get a second one. And I felt that that's where the show ended. It was actually a great place to end the 1-season arc as well, which is that he's been woken up and he's seen the Matrix and he's not going to go back.
Right.
There were some people who did urge me to consider the other way, but I felt like if he goes back, he's not evolved. That's not an arc. He hasn't evolved at all. So yeah, the idea was never for him to go back.
Was it difficult to figure out how to get Sam out of the predicament that she was in and figure that? Because Olivia, I think you were only supposed to do 1 season, right?
Yeah, that's like a big reason why. Like when I talked with John, and he was like, you know, you only have to do 1 season. Because at that point, I had a lot of personal stuff happened in my life, like horrible postpartum anxiety, going through breast cancer. It was just so much. And it was like so nice. And he was like, you only have to do one season. So
Headline.
it was like a couple episodes in, and he was like, hey, would you think about, staying on? And I knew how it ended, so I was like, what's gonna happen? Like, am I gonna be behind plexiglass the entire season 2? Which would have been nice.
Not the worst thing.
No. It's like Birkin is the new black. So yeah, I was, I'm still like, people ask me that a lot, like, how did you get out?
But it's pretty straightforward because she never actually committed the fraud.
Right.
She intended to, but she hadn't filed a claim yet. So, there's the obstruction and, tampering with a dead body and all that, but,
That's so little.
somebody in this neighborhood, with the lawyers you get in this neighborhood,
Yeah.
it's pretty simple.
I mean, I didn't mean to.
No, I mean, you just paid a
Keep your
fine.
job as like president of the United States.
Seriously, I mean,
It's not like
it's so true. Okay, so season 2 opens at a Mexican resort. By the way, where is this resort? Because that is beautiful.
We shot it Las Ventanas.
Thank you, in Mexico.
We shot it Las Ventanas.
So beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous. Okay, so my favorite storyline starts right in the beginning, where we see Mel join Coop at the bar and talk about they're both 50 years old and they cannot believe that they haven't figured it all out by now. And I love the fact that the through line of this season, especially, is really talking about grappling with middle age or whatever middle age is supposed to be. So what did you all appreciate about diving into this topic and these conversations in such rich detail?
I didn't know anything about it.
No.
I mean, I appreciated that I was only 50 in the show, having just turned 55. Amanda, of course, only being 42, was like, oh, I guess I have to age up. No, part of when Amanda and I had a discussion about starting the show together, and me convincing her to come onto the show, it was that this is going to be like a real kind of study, for want of a better word, of a relationship and what that looks like at our particular actual ages, which is different than it looks like, when we were doing a version of this same gig when we were in our 20s and 30s. And so that's, I think, a really fun thing for a lot of the audience. I'm not speaking for you guys because I literally can't see you. Are you all old? But yeah, it's like, there's something to that. And I think it really does resonate because not only is it's not just for people of a certain age, but it's people that are going to be a certain age. What does that look like? What does that feel like? And I think that is very relatable. And it certainly is fun to do, for sure. Not just the relationship, obviously, with Amanda and I's character, because we have children together, but also the stuff that we had to do with sailing, which was like, what does it look like when you're single all of a sudden at that age? So what Jonathan has done, balanced these stories so nicely and compellingly, is really get into the meat of what that looks like. And there's good times, and there's bad times, and there's scenes that start as good times and immediately take a hard left into confusing and bad times. And all of that is very real, and it's super duper fun to play.
There's this line that Tropper wrote in a scene with myself and Coop, and I'm not going to say what it is, but it stuck with me so much. It was the one when you came into the bathroom, and when I read it, I'm going to be 46 this year, and there's a lot of I have when you look at your life and you're like, wow, I'm trying to do the math on when I knew people. I'm like, how have I known you for 20 years? I'm only 20. This is crazy. But there's this. He has this line that I hope you guys will know what it is when you see it. But it was just so gut wrenching when you just think about how you really don't have control of your life. No matter you can be in your mid 40s, you can be in your 50s, and there's something about just life and the experience of it, that you feel like you're still like a little kid, you're like, how did life, how do I not have control of so much of my life? How did I get to this age? How am I it's a big age when you're supposed to be a grown up, and like yet everything, you know, feels so I don't know what's the word. Like it just feels like everything slips through your fingers. And I really understand that. Like it really is. I think about that line often, actually.
No, I went into Love Language.
You know?